What's going on, all my toy collectors and X-Men fans out there? Now, if you're new to the channel, I'm your boy Ox, and this is the Cave of Wonders. Now, today we're going to be taking a look at the Marvel Legends X-Men VHS cassette tape boxes, Cyclops and Jean Grey. So make sure you guys stay tuned as we crack these bad babies open and take a closer look. All right, guys. All right, since ladies first, we're going to go ahead and start with Jean Grey. Taking a look at the front of the box right here, you can see that image of Jean from the 90s X-Men animated series. And that's basically what Hasbro's doing with this line right here. They're taking the Spider-Man and the X-Men characters from the animated series from the 90s, and they're putting them in these really cool VHS boxes to kind of make them look like a cassette tape. Now, I know a lot of people complain about the windowless packaging, which it is a very, very good complaint to have. With this line, it doesn't bother me at all because I'm not worried about, you can't find these in the stores, so I'm not worried about someone buying it from Target, taking the figure out, putting something back, and then bringing it back to Target. I was only able to get these off of Hasbro Pulse. They might be somewhere else now, but I bought these earlier in the year. I just hadn't had a chance to open them yet. Now, I already measured out the box. They're 5 inches long by 9.5 inches tall by 1.5 inches wide. So that's how much shelf space you're going to need if you're going to be trying to display this on the shelf like this. But odds are most people are going to try and slide it into their shelf kind of like a cassette tape like that, or maybe just have it as a backdrop and put the character in front, maybe like this. But this right here is the side. You can see it says MVL for Marvel Legends right there, kind of just like the old movie cassette tapes. Now, I'm not going to read all this. You guys can pause it if you want and check it out. And right here. Now, in order for you not to destroy the box, it's just best to cut it right there. And the figure should open right up and come out. And this way, you don't have to destroy your box. There's everything. And then you just flip that tab, and there you go. So you don't have to cut the box, rip the box all up, unless you just don't care about collecting the box at all, which, some people do. And this is basically what comes in it, just like that. So let me go ahead and unwrap this thing for you guys and show you what it looks like. Okay, now here's Jean out of the box. It just comes with a figure, a swappable head, and 2 swappable hands. Now, the hands that she comes with out of the box are open hands, like she's about to use her powers. But she also comes with 2 closed fists right here. And this is the way those look. Just 2 closed fists. So if you wanted to pop those hands off and have her with her fists out, you guys can do that. And taking a look at her extra head right here. Now, I'm not going to be using this head because I like that one right there. This one kind of reminds me of her when she turned into the Phoenix. Her hair all flowing and everything like that. And, if her eyes were like glowing red or like glowing yellow or something. This is what it reminds me of when I remember watching the X-Men cartoon when I was little. So I'm going to end up using this head right here. But I will put that head on there for you guys and let you guys see what it looks like. Now, taking a look at her up close, I'm really excited to have this figure. The only way I was able to get this figure, besides, inside this new VHS boxes, was if you bought it in that 3-pack. And I wasn't going to spend that kind of money when I had missed out on it originally. And I know the secondhand market is crazy right now. So, but yeah, man, taking a look at her, I have no issues with my paint work at all that I can see. I love this all black going right down like her leotard right here. And yeah, I have no issues, no kind of paint chipping or anything like that when I look this figure over. A lot of people aren't a big fan of the cell shading, but it doesn't bother me whatsoever. I'm just really happy because when I collect figures, as you can see with my Wolverine back there, that's not the cell shaded VHS Wolverine right there. That's the one, that's the Apocalypse Wave Wolverine. And I mix my figures, as long as I get the figures that I want and they look good together, it doesn't bother me whatsoever. So, and even like back there, that's Diamond Select Cyclops. I like that Cyclops, his height and everything better than the Marvel Legends Cyclops. My opinion, of course, but that's the one that I use in my collection. So now taking a look at her, let's go ahead and go over her articulation. Her head is on a ball joint, so it goes all the way around. It looks down about yay far. It actually looks further down with the other head sculpt, but that's how far she looks down. She can't really look up too far because of her ponytail right here. And then her arms come up to about there. They do rotate around. She doesn't have any kind of bicep swivel. She has single jointed elbows right here. They're pinless right there, and they do rotate around like this. Her hand does rotate around. It does go in, it does go out. And I'll show you something in a second that kind of bothered me, actually. If you notice the way I have her hands right here, you don't see that little joint right there because it's kind of covered. It's pointing inwards. While on the other arm, it's not pointing inwards. It's pointing right out. So you could see it right there. Not a huge deal because I'm going to be putting her in different poses and you probably won't even see that right there. But I just noticed, I don't know why it's pointing outwards where this one is pointing right towards her waistline. So, and then she doesn't have any kind of waist swivel right here, but she does have upper torso right up here. So it does rotate all the way around. It does, you know, go back. She does crunch forward right there. And then her belt does rotate around if you want. I don't think it's removable. I don't see a way to remove it unless you pop the legs off and slide it off. But it does rotate around. Her legs come up to about there. They only kick out about that far. Go back there. And then this was kind of tough right here at her thigh. But yep, her thigh, she does have thigh swivel right there. She has double jointed knees. You can still see the pins in there. She doesn't have any kind of boot cut right here. Her foot does go up, does go down. It does rock back and forth. And that's pretty much it for the articulation for this figure. But yeah, like I said, I'm really happy to get this toy right here. Let's go ahead and pop off her head and switch it out real quick, all right? All right, now this is Jean with that different head sculpt right there, and I switched out them open hands right here for those closed-fisted hands. Now, I'm not going to lie, she's really top heavy with the back of her hair compared to this one right here. I do like the way this looks. It looks perfectly fine. But like I said, I'm not going to end up using this head sculpt. Now, as I was playing around with her a little bit, I don't know if you guys realize it or not, or if this is just something new with Marvel Legends, but the plastic seems really gummy. Like look at that. I'm like barely pulling it apart. Like I'm using no force. And it's all kind of just like really the plastic is like really gummy on these. I don't know what's up. It's not like harder plastic, which I would have expected like the older figures. But yeah, man, this just, you know, just kind of feels really gooey. I don't know what's up. I don't know the best way to describe it, but it just feels like it might break at the kneecaps or something, or even at the arms. I'm not really for sure. Maybe it just might just because this is a female body right here. It's really thin in the legs and everything like that. But the plastic on here just feels really gooey. So let me know down in the comments if you guys had the same issues with yours, or if you guys know the reason why. I don't really keep up on Hasbro too much. I don't collect everything that Hasbro puts out just because they just charge way too much. Personally, my opinion, I bought all these toys when Hasbro Pulse had the 30% off sale. That's when I bought everything I wanted. I'm not one of the people who just buy everything. You know, I wait for a deal to come across and then I'll buy it. But yeah, man, this thing, it just seems kind of gummy. I like the figure. I like the way it looks. I'm not going to be playing with it personally. I'm going to just pose it and display it. But yeah, man, these legs just feel like, you know, luckily I don't have any windows down here because, you know, you feel like you put this thing in front of the window, it might just, you know, melt. But yeah, other than that, I like the toy, but I'm not going to lie, man, the plastic just feels kind of funny. But let's go ahead and get into Cyclops, all right? Okay, now here's taking a look at Cyclops. This is the front of the box right here. I really like that image. Like I said, I was born in 86. So my first introduction besides comics was the X-Men animated series from the 90s. And man, I love Cyclops in there. I loved his back and forth with Wolverine and how they always fought over Jean. So this right here is the front of the box. You can see it says Marvel Cyclops, a really big 90s X-Men logo right there. You can see a really cool comic book image right here. And the same as on the Jean gray box right there. You can see that it looks like the VHS boxes. This is the back of the box. You guys can go ahead and pause that if you want to read up on it real quick and see everything you need to know about Scott Summers. Right there's the image. Same thing on the other side. And it's this box measures out the exact same 5 inches, 9.5 inches tall by 1.5 inches wide. Let's go ahead and crack this baby open. Same thing, just cut the bottom right there, and then you could slide this figure right out. All right, now here's Cyclops out of the box. He just comes with 3 extra hands, which we'll take a look at those. Out of the box, he has 2 closed fists, but you can swap those out, and he has 2 open hands right here. The exact same, just one for the right, one for the left. And then he has one hand right here that's meant to go in his left hand, and it's basically in order for him to touch his glasses and shoot the lasers out of his eyes, which I'll show you what that looks like once I swap this out. All right. Now, taking a look at the figure up close, man, I'm really excited to be able to add Cyclops to my collection now. All I've ever had was the old Toy Biz one, so I missed out on the Apocalypse one because I'm a toy hunter. I love going to stores. I drive to all my Targets. I drive to my Walmarts. I drive to my Myers. So I like toy hunting. It's something I love to do. So if I can't find a figure, well, back in the day, if I couldn't find a figure, then I was just like, well, hey, you know, I just maybe I'll come across it at one of the toy conventions here in my city. I don't really buy from scalpers. That's just something I don't do off a secondhand market for high prices. But nowadays, you don't even find a lot of the toys you're looking for, especially Marvel Legends, in stores. You have to buy them online. Like this right here, I think was exclusive to Hasbro Pulse, so I had to buy it, which I'm really happy I did because I love this toy and I saved 30% on it. But yeah, I know a lot of people complain about the cell shading on these VHS figures, but it doesn't bother me at all. It's going to look great along with my other figures I have. Like I said earlier, I have Diamond Select. I have, you know, all different series from different toys over there. So it doesn't bother me as long as they look cool next to each other. That's all that matters to me. Now, I do like the fact that Hasbro decided not to connect this belt right here to his lower waist belt. So that way when I'm moving his abs up and down, it doesn't end up popping out. That had happened with one of my other figures from Hasbro right here. When I try and move this, his belt ends up popping out right there. So I can't really move his abs too much unless I want to pop this out and try and tuck it back in every single time. So I'm glad they didn't do that with this figure right here. Now let's go ahead and take a look at his articulation. His head swivels all the way around. It does, hold on. He does look pretty far down like that. And he does look pretty far up, which is pretty cool, man. I like that. And then he has butterfly joints right here that go in and out. His arms come up to about there. They do rotate around. He does have bicep swivel, which you notice that Gene didn't end up having bicep swivel. He has double jointed elbows right here. And then I did notice that he has like, what is it called? Like a forearm swivel. It looks like it's a swivel. You guys can see it on each side, but I can't get it to rotate around. I was going to grab some needle nose pliers and try and rotate this, but I don't want to scratch the paint on my figure. But let me know down in the comments if you guys have this figure, but I can't get this to rotate. I can get his wrist to rotate and then, you know, go in and go out, and I can get this piece right here, part of his glove, to rotate around, but I can't get his forearm right here to rotate. I don't know if it's meant to or not, but he does have waist swivel right here. He does have ab crunch, goes up and down. Like I said, that belt right here connected to his shoulder piece doesn't hinder anything. His legs do go out to about there. They do go out to here. He does have a thigh cut right here. It actually looks like it's supposed to move right here and right here above these little buckles right here, but I'm holding this little yellow piece and I can't get it to turn. I can only get it to turn at the top. And then he does have double jointed knees. He does have a boot cut right there. Like I said, Gene didn't have a boot cut, but he does. That's pretty cool. His foot goes down, does go back up, it does rock back and forth. So yeah, man, all the good articulation that you're looking for basically from Marvel Legends. And like I said, I'm really happy with this figure. Like I was describing with the Gene one, the plastic felt really gummy. This doesn't feel as gummy because his legs are a lot thicker than hers is, but I can still feel like the gumminess in the figure, in the legs and in the arms right here. Basically at the joints, it feels like it would almost just kind of pop off. Not as bad as the female as Gene, but you know, with the males, because they have more muscle and they're more bulkier on these figures, you know, it doesn't feel like it break as easy. But yeah, that's just something to be aware of. Now let's go ahead and do a comparison of him and another Cyclops figure that I have real quick. All right, now here's a quick little comparison of an old 90s Cyclops that I have. I think this is 94 by Toy Biz. I'm not really for sure, but I also have a 1991 Cyclops right here. The only thing is this figure right here, it's so wobbly. I played with this when I was growing up, and then I let my kids play with it. That way I could teach them about X-Men. I let them play with some of my really old toys, and the joints just get all wobbly. But yeah, this is the closest comparison I have to a Cyclops figure right here. I have a bunch of these these old Toy Biz figures. So I always keep them. Like I said, I let my kids play with them until they didn't want to play with them no more. And then I just brought them right back in my toy room. Some of them have really loose joints now, so it's kind of hard for me to display them in my toy room because they don't really stand up very well. But yeah, man, right there, that's a comparison of the new Cyclops versus the old Toy Biz Cyclops. All right, now this is that Cyclops and Jean Grey next to some other X-Men characters by Marvel Legends. Like I said, that Colossus right here, that's not a Marvel Legends, that's a Diamond Select. I just like the Diamond Select one better because it was bigger, and I want my Colossus to be really big and look more menacing when it comes to all my X-Men characters. I want him to be big and bulky in the back. Now, I didn't measure these characters out for you yet, but Cyclops ended up coming in at about 6 inches. Yeah, Cyclops is about 6 inches, and Jean Grey is 5 3/4, almost 6 inches. So, like I said, they fit really well. I know a lot of people complain about the cell shading on these VHS figures, but it doesn't bother me at all. I have glass shelving inside my toy room, so that way the light can shine through, and I don't really even notice the cell shading. They fit in really well with these other Marvel Legends X-Men characters, so it doesn't bother me whatsoever. I'm really happy to have these figures in my collection. My main issue that I feel like is a QC issue is the gumminess of these figures. I don't know if this is just the VHS figures based off of the animated series cartoons, or if this is just something that Hasbro is having an issue with their plastic, but they're really gummy. It was really hard to try and get her to stand at times because like her legs were just so like, you know, if I pushed it too hard, they popped out like she was bow-legged. If I pushed them in, it looked like her kneecaps were about to touch. So that was an issue for me. Like I said, I'm not actually playing with these figures, so I'm not worried about it breaking. I'm going to put them in a pose and just leave them there so people can view them when they come into the Cave of Wonders. But other than that, that's the only complaint that I have, which is a big complaint because you're paying you know, good money for these. Luckily, I got these for 30% off at Hasbro Pulse. But, you know, for people paying, you know, $30-something a figure almost for these, you know, that would be an issue for me that the plastic is so gummy. But other than that, I really love these toys. They're gonna look really well on my shelf. And if you guys like this review, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Let me know down in the comments though if my question about that, because like I said, I don't collect a lot of Marvel Legend figures. I collect some, mostly I collected the movie stuff and then some of the nostalgia cartoon stuff like this. But let me know if that's an issue for you guys as well, or if that's something that Hasbro is taking care of, because I know these figures actually came out last year. I just didn't buy them until they went on sale. That's when I ended up buying them. So let me know down in the comments, you know, if you guys know the answer to that question about the QC with the gumminess of the plastic. All right. Until next time, though, stay cool, guys.